Good evening. Welcome to our first evening webinar and a return to our Into series with the Independent School Show. My name's Will Petty and I'm a co-director at the show, and also Bonas, MacFarlane, where we specialise in school and university placements for children domestically and overseas into British private schools. This evening, we are delighted to welcome 6 outstanding boarding schools as we look, thankfully now students are finally back at schools, we look into what boarding life is like in action. I'm hoping we're gonna see some action from our 6 schools, namely Fettes College in Edinburgh, Caterham School in West Sussex, Repton in South Derbyshire, St Edward's School, Oxford, Queenswood in Hertfordshire, and Berkhamsted schools also in Hertfordshire. So we've got a lot to pack in. I won't bore you too much personally as we start. Just to say there will be some Q&A at the end. So please do use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen on Zoom, it should be, to fill those in, and we will try and answer them either directly or during the webinar. After the recording, it will be available on our site, schoolsshow.co.uk, probably later on this evening or tomorrow. So if you miss any of it or you can't stay to the end, do check in there, or obviously share it with friends who may have missed it. And we'll do our best to keep to answer all the questions and indeed direct you to the right schools should you want to ask specific questions. So without further ado, rather nerve-wracking this moment, we are going to go live, as they say, to Gemma Gray, Director of Marketing and Admissions at Fettes College, Edinburgh. And Gemma has got all sorts of exciting things planned for us, but I will let her explain those. Gemma, good time to unmute, bingo, and off you go. Lovely to see you.
That's great. Thank you very much, Will, and good evening, everybody. We are delighted to be joining you this evening from Fettes College, up in the heart of Edinburgh. And I have 2 very special people with me tonight. I have Rachel Nichol, our house parent of Arniston House, and Ed Baltacoma, our house parent of Kimagem House. And also behind the screen is Natalie, one of our heads of admissions. So she'll be answering any questions that you have. So coming to you from Edinburgh, where restrictions are a little bit different. So it means that we can't really delve into the boarding houses. So I thought creatively, how do we show you what boarding is really like? So we are focusing tonight on talking to the house parents, the people that really make a difference for boarding for your child. And before I introduce you to them a bit more specifically, Fettes here, we are a full boarding school. We welcome day pupils as well, but about 70% of all our children board, and it's full boarding 7 days a week. We have boarding available for children aged 7 right the way up to 18. Now, we would love to make this really relevant for you, so do ask any questions that you have in the chat. And even if we can't get to them this evening, we'll be very happy to send information to you later. So, enough from me. Speak to the important people. So really, first of all, a really general question. Could you sum up for me the benefits of boarding? Rachel first.
Well, Gemma, I think that it is the security and the mindset that we can offer pupils a wonderful opportunity to build resilience. It is a journey through their time, whether pupils start off in 3rd form, 4th form, or possibly 6th form, or whether they've been with us from prep school. I think spending that journey with them is an honour and a privilege.
Yeah, it can be, certainly, can't it? And I really like the sort of confidence that our guys have when they leave us. And it's interesting that some people come into boarding really confident, and other people, it's part of a journey. But certainly by the time they're out of our hands, they're really, really ready for the next stage. And it shows in those first few weeks at university, who knows how to do their own laundry, who knows how to clean their own bathroom. And quite often it's the boarders who are helping everybody else to do that.
That's very true. It's those incredible life skills that you get all the way through, as well as your education. And we have at Fettes, we have 11 different houses. We have 2 in the prep school, and then we have 8 senior houses, and then a co-ed house for the very final year. But the question we often get asked is, Are all the houses different in terms of their ethos, and what is your house like? So I'll go to Rachel again first.
Well, I think that everybody would always say their house is the best
Oh,
house.
yeah, absolutely.
And I think from the moment you arrive at Fettes, you are convinced that your house is the best house.
This is true. Yeah.
I think that we have the same core morals, values, ethos within our community. Every house has a little flamboyant flavour of its own. For example, Arniston, my house, our symbol is a puffin. We are a colony. We build lifelong friendships. We sometimes have a slightly messy nest and are vocal. But I think that sums up the core values of our house, which is that of a home and being a home away from home.
Well, I mean, in my house, Kimogen, I mean, apart from being really difficult to spell if you're not from Scotland, my house is about strength through individuality, strength through diversity, really. Our symbol is a boar, which goes back to sort of honour and bravery, but also thoughtfulness. Boars are really good mothers. And that's a strange thing for what's considered to be a boy's house. So we've got lots of different things going on there. But really, it is, for our house, it's about strength through individuality and celebrating people's quirks. I think that's what we try to be good at.
And we had a brilliant event last night, actually, that summed up that sort of house pride and that house ethos. It was pouring with rain last night, surprisingly, in Edinburgh. It's normally blue skies and sunshine, but it was absolutely biblical rain. And we had the house mile relays, and every single person, they stood there in the rain and they ran for their house. It was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
Yes, I mean, events like that are as mad as they are brilliant. And one of the things that we've really missed over the course of lockdown is actually those big school events. Anything that's happening outside, we can reformat a little bit and get them to do that, be able to do those sorts of things. And those big events where the whole school are involved, there's some of the things that make life really exciting around Fettes. I was very glad to do it.
Yeah,
even
lots of wet people.
Very wet.
You spoke specifically about a home from home. And I think what we often get asked in admissions from parents is, how do you create that caring atmosphere? And who are some of the people in-house who are really, really key, apart from yourselves, to the care of their child?
So I have been at Fettes for 18 years now. And sort of in my previous role as head of geography. So I have a good understanding of the academic aspects. One of the big things about being a house parent is the diversity of roles in which you play. And in terms of in the house, we have various members of our community who are able to support the girls in many different ways. I live in the house with my husband and our 3 children. Who are at the junior prep school. We also have a resident matron who is there 24/7 for the needs of the girls, and I don't think she'd mind me describing her as perhaps the resident grandmother of the house. And then we also have a resident assistant house parent who is also there on call, and one of their particular things that they focus on is looking after the needs of new pupils and helping them settle into the school.
I mean, we're really lucky because as well as our resident set of staff, we have visiting tutors. So every member of the academic staff comes and does duty every night in different houses. So not every night, each one of them, they all take a turn. And it's really, really useful to have that set of people who will bring in all their different diverse opinions as well as their subjects in there. I'm really clear, and I've been supported with this, that I want a gender diverse cast there. Sorry, I was a drama teacher. It's always a cast. But so half my tutors are women, half are men, and that really helps, because sometimes I think boys' houses you could think that they were just blokey, but they're not. My assistant lives in our house with her husband. I'm there with my husband and only 2 kids, but I've got a couple of dogs to make up for it. But yeah, it's very much a home. We call it home.
And I think sometimes parents worry when children go to boarding school. They worry that they're getting sent away, or the parents aren't going to be involved. Maybe you could just let me know how you do involve parents in the process.
I have to say, I think we're in contact with parents daily, whether it's on a telephone call, whether it's by email, whether it's by you're sort of posting photographs and letting them know how their child is getting on. The school very much focuses on a 3-way relationship between the pupil, the staff and the parents. And even though we have a diverse range of parents where they are located geographically, we have some parents who are based within Edinburgh, we have some down in London, and we have some abroad as well. We make sure that we give the parents the opportunity to be involved in the school, either in person or more recently on Teams. And if it is the case that a parent comes to Edinburgh at an unusual time, we make sure that they're given the opportunity to talk to teachers and have access to the school to ensure they feel part of our community.
And that's the great thing about Edinburgh. It's a wonderful place to visit anyway. So people do want to come, even though they've got their children to visit. But it's a lovely place to come as well.
Yeah.
So we do that. And the one thing I've really missed, having a cup of coffee with parents and a slice of cake at half term or at rec leave when we say hello and goodbye. Just those little things that we're really looking forward to getting back to.
Just having that chat, isn't it? That connection. Now, we could, quite frankly, talk for hours and hours and hours, but we are going to be limited by time. So I just wonder, before we sort of finish up, maybe you could just let me know, sort of very briefly, best part, hardest part of being a house parent.
I mean, the hardest part's probably the biggest privilege as well. When things go wrong, probably for a family, nothing to do with school, and you know that you're going to be walking alongside a young person through an incredibly difficult time, and supporting family, that is difficult, but it's also the biggest privilege that I think I have in my job. But I mean, the good days are just so good, aren't they? They are really, really good days. Good days are great. They really are.
I would echo that. I think the journey that you have with the pupil and with the parents, whether it's a journey that you've shared for 2 years for someone in sixth form or someone that's been here all the way through third form, that is a huge privilege, knowing that you can input into an individual's life, and the idea that every journey is different and the journey is not a set one. And sometimes the pathways that pupils take us are unexpected, and that is what makes the job so enjoyable, because you can know that you can support pupils and make a difference in their lives.
Well, I really hope that whistle-stop tour has been really insightful and interesting. Thank you both very much. We will be here the whole time, so do ask any question on the Q&A and later on as well. But come and visit us when you can and experience what Fettes is really like. But thank you very much indeed, and we'll see you later on. Thank you, Will.
Bye.
Thank you very much, the Fettes Collective there. An excellent start to proceedings, and already hearing, you parents are hearing some very good, comforting advice as to, transitioning your child into boarding and what that might entail. So without further ado, let's hopefully move on to more great advice at Caterham School in West Sussex, where we'll be joined by Headmaster Kerry Jones. Kerry, over to you.
Will, thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting us to this evening. I'll be brief. We have some boarders for you to meet in just a moment. Before I do that, a welcome to you from the Surrey Hills, actually not West Sussex, the Surrey Hills. Caterham School is a co-educational boarding and day school, about 15 miles from the centre of London, in a beautiful campus, wooded campus, but still in Zone 6 of London. If there are three things that I would want you to remember about Caterham School this evening, it is that we are a high achieving, high ambitious, but really friendly school. Our pupils achieve incredible things at A-level. 70% of them go on to get A stars and A's at A-level, 15 to 20 go off to Oxford and Cambridge. But fundamentally, we're a really strong, friendly community, winning awards for our well-being, for our diversity inclusion, and for our approach to digital and innovation. Masses of co-curricular, of course, at the school for boarders and day pupils. So music, drama, dance, you name it, we do it. Weekends, full activity for all of our pupils. Philosophically, we're a school that believes in an all-round education, encouraging people to grow in every single possible way and grow into who and what they want to be, underpinned, of course, by excellence. But fundamentally, we're a warm, strong community. And boarding at the school starts at the age of 13. It's about 20% of our school population are boarders, but boarding is at the core of everything we do here at the school. Like all good, modern, forward-looking boarding schools, we have the best of both worlds here. You can be both a full boarder, 7 days a week, or indeed a weekly boarder, which means you can be at school between Monday and Friday and have weekends at home if you want to, or indeed be here for the weekend. So we offer great flexibility and a home away from home, but really flexibly, the best of both worlds, as I say. Throughout the week and at weekends, our day pupils and our boarders mix together in lessons and in all the co-curricular activities we have. And because we're boarding schools, I was a day school at weekends, lots of kids here still playing sport, doing music, doing drama, and a whole raft of weekend activities for all our boarders who are here with us. So that's who we are. But more importantly, what is boarding like here at Caterham School? So I'm going to hand over now to our boarding house, Bedtime. If Mrs. Quinton is there, there we go. There's some boarders for you, some real life boarders. We have Natalia, Michelle, Pearlie, and Sharon. There's Mrs. Quinton, who is the head of house at Bedtime, our girls boarding house. Good evening, ladies. Listen, Natalia, can I start with a question to you, if that's okay?
Sure, sir.
Okay. How did you settle into the school when you first joined? Because you joined in the lower sixth, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I came last year and I was very new to school. But on the first day, I remember we had this whole induction, and it was not only boarding, it was actually day school as well. We had loads of sports activities and all fun. And as well as that, I found it helpful. We had study buddies around the school, so I was never actually lost in the first week. In the boarding, as Mr. Jones mentioned, the weekends, loads of entertaining stuff is happening here. We have trips to different cities. I went to Thales last year. And as well as that, in sixth form, you have socials on Fridays, which is really nice. You can chill out with teachers and your friends and really get to know everyone.
Thanks, Natalia. Sharon, you've been here a bit longer as a boarder. How about you? How is settling into boarding for you?
Oh yeah, so I've been here since first year when we still had 11-year-old boarders. But yeah, so I think it was a bit nerve-wracking because obviously I was a bit younger than most of the new boarders now, but it was really good because the prefects and the teachers really help integrate you into the house, and you don't really feel like you're alone because you always have the older pupils there to help you out, and you make friends really quickly. So yeah, there's never a moment when you actually feel lonely.
Perfect. And Pearlie, if I can ask you, how about the boarding and day communities? How well do you guys kind of integrate during the day?
Well, actually, I think I integrate pretty well with the boarding and day school as well. And it's really good having a boarding community to rely back on, and you can always talk to them about anything at the same time having fun with them. And at school you can also speak to your friends who are day pupils, but also seeing some people from boarding, and you just feel a lot more comfortable.
Fantastic, thanks, Pearlie. And Michelle, can I ask you, in terms of, if you have a problem ever at school, who do you speak to? Who's around for you to talk to?
Well, obviously, I would go. Everyone would be a good choice because our community is very friendly, and we could tell anything to our peers, and our teachers are very supportive, and also especially our matrons, they're here 24/7. When we need them, they're always here for us. So if I had a problem, I would go for the matrons, my friends, and also teachers around school.
Perfect. What a great answer. Now, Mrs. Quinton, I wasn't meant to ask you a question, but I'm going to ask you a question. So what is the best bit for you about being a boarding house mistress?
Well, I've been doing it 18 years and it seems to get better and better. I suppose being here in my home, sharing it with all these lovely girls, and seeing them grow over the years, seeing Sharon go from an 11-year-old to lower sixth and aiming for dentistry when we first met. She didn't know what she was going to do, and it's just lovely to see them grow and then come back and visit. That's one of the loveliest things, because they all come back and see us.
Fantastic. Natalia, last question to you, of course. So we've got a girls' boarding house and two boys' boarding houses, a senior boys and a junior boys' boarding house. How do you guys kind of integrate after school in the evenings and at weekends?
As I mentioned before, on Fridays we have socials for sixth form, but we also, especially in the summer term, there are lots of now sports fixtures. Thankfully, everything is getting back. They were actually around us last week where everyone was involved, and it was really nice and sunny. There is no problem at all. I mean, girls and boys are mixing quite well, and we have prefects in boarding houses separate from school, so we usually take care of little ones and hang out with them as well, so no one actually misses out on anything.
Perfect. Listen, thank you so much for your time this evening. I hope that's given everyone out there an insight into what boarding is like here at Caterham. As I say, I hope what you take away from us this evening is high achieving, highly ambitious, but really friendly, warm boarding environment. Please do, if you get a chance, come to visit us. Will, I'll stop there.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you so much, Kerry, and all the ladies there at Caterham School. Again, we're seeing the family atmosphere, the attention to the pastoral atmosphere, and of course the big W word, well-being. So onwards to Repton and Derbyshire, where we are joined by Deputy Head James Wilton. James, are you? Ah, there you are. You are there. Brilliant.
Hi there. Hi. Welcome, everybody.
So, over to you, James.
Thank you. Welcome to Repton in South Derbyshire. So we have been a boarding school for over 600 years. We have 70% of our pupils board here, and I'm talking to you from outside one of our boarding houses, the Mitre. And the reason that I'm standing here outside is that I've actually walked here from just around the corner from my house. That's one of the key things, and it's a really important thing about our view of boarding as a school, is that the two major things you get from boarding would be access to the amazing facilities you have at a school like this, so you can take those interests that you have further. And the other really important thing is the support. And if you've got your teachers living on site with you 24/7, that support can be there for you all of that time. And that's a really vital thing for us in the way that we think of boarding here. So on that topic of support, we're going to start off by heading across to Mr. Casey, who's got some of our younger boarders with him, and he's going to talk a little bit about the sort of support that they have.
Good evening. Thank you, James. You're joining us here from the girls' house, so I'm just going to pass you over to our house parent and some of our girls.
Hi there. My name is Mrs. Casey. I run Nightingale, which is the girls' house. The girls' house is from year 3 and all the way up to year 8, and then they go to Repton in year 9. So we've got a selection of girls here who are going to answer a couple of questions. So why do you enjoy boarding so much?
Because
I'll start.
Yeah, because you can do it's like a big sleepover with all your friends, which is really cool. I like that.
Awesome. Matilda?
I really enjoy the hot chocolates before bed.
Bet you do.
Phoebe? I really love because it's very flexible. You can go home on the Wednesdays or the weekends if you miss your parents or anything.
Right?
We spend so much time together and we become one big family.
Do you?
Being with your friends and the amazing activities after school.
Right, fantastic. And one last question for me is, how do you overcome homesickness if you've ever had homesickness? Matilda, you're going to start with that one.
Yes. So if I'm ever homesick, I know that there are lots of tutors, house parents, and my friends around the house. So if I ever feel homesick, I'll go to them and they'll help me.
Well, I've never really been homesick because I've been here since year 4. But the reason is because you're so busy with lots of all the really cool activities, and it's very good.
Okay. And you can always rely on your friends to help you if you need help.
Excellent. Okay, and as you can see, we're sporting Oodies at the minute. It seems to be a very comfy thing. Maybe I need to get one. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Casey. We'll pass back to Mr. Wilton.
Thank you so much, Mr. Casey. So that gives you a bit of an idea about those early experience of boarding, which build towards the kind of boarding that you do at our senior level. And so to talk a bit more about that and how that support becomes that more sort of senior and grown-up support, we're going to go across to Mr. Wilson, who's in one of our senior boys' houses, the Cross. He's going to chat to you a little bit about that.
Hi, James. Good evening, all. I'm, as Mr. Wilton says, I'm one of the house parents at Repton. We have 10 senior houses, and I'm here with Sam, whose background is very similar to hopefully many of your sons and daughters. So Sam joined us 3 years ago from a local London day school. So Sam, tell me a bit about your background.
Yeah, so I came from a local London day school, which was, it was not as sporty. It was less academic, and I think there was less support, which is one of the main reasons for coming to Repton. I thought the support was really good, and the sport was a lot better as well. I came here on a sports scholarship as well, which which is really good as well.
Good. And Sam's recently been considering his options for sixth form. We've had a good discussion about whether to stay on at Repton and build on the foundations that he's had here, or maybe go back to London with the maybe more freedom that offers and the chance to be nearer home. And what decision have you come to, Sam, and why?
So I was understanding the freedom that you get with being a bit older, which would leave Repton and go to London academic day school. But I thought one of the main reasons for staying, which is obviously sport and the teachers' accessibility, because teachers are always, I think it's 1 mile within Repton, so you can literally anytime just call them and get the extra support. So that was probably one of the main reasons for staying.
Super. And finally, what advice, Sam, would you give somebody who's in your shoes 3 years ago, who's thinking about joining Repton? What sort of things should they do to sort of see if that's for them?
So I think definitely come and have a tour, get to know the campus, because it's quite a large campus from coming to a London day school. And I think come over, have an overnight stay. I think that was really useful for me.
Yeah, because you had an overnight stay with your sports scholarship, didn't you?
Yeah.
Got to know a few people before you start.
Yeah, which was really nice. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Thanks very much, Mr. Wilton. We'll hand back to you.
Thank you so much, both of you. And what Sam's saying there about the access to extra sport and support from academic staff and so on, that's something that Miss Campbell and some of her girls in the garden boarding house are going to talk to about now. Thank you.
Hello. Well, yeah, that's quite right. I'm here with Beth, who is in the B block, so year 9, new to boarding, new to Repton this year, and she's a really, really busy girl. She's got lots on, so I thought it'd be useful to hear a little bit about how being a boarder makes that all kind of work and fit together.
Well, to start with, being at boarding school is so fun. It means you're like always surrounded by friends and kind of the support that the house gives you. But for me, it's that and so much more. So I am a drama scholar, a sports scholar, and a all-round scholar. And being at boarding school lets me do all the things that I want to do and that kind of surround my responsibilities as a scholar. And I don't have to come to and from school every day. I don't have to worry about kind of making sure my parents know my timetable and that I don't have to be calling them every kind of 10 minutes, like I need to be at school, because I wake up and I'm here and everything's kind of on the doorstep, really. And most of the time, I am either at a society or a group, for example, choir, debating, temple society,
hockey
as well. And it just means I can do all of that without having to worry about clashes, because there are other people who kind of need to be able to do all these things, and the school kind of timetable it so that I can do everything that I want to do. And being at school ensures I can do it all. And obviously I play hockey to quite a high standard. So I play with the under 14s to the ladies first team, which means I have quite a lot of training sessions every week that often run till quite late at night. So having the hockey pitch practically 5 minutes away, a walk down the road, it's very convenient. And it means I don't have to have that car journey to and from home practically every single day. And it just means that time that I would have to spend 45 minutes in a car to drive to the pitch, I can spend with my friends in free time just around the school.
Yeah.
And it's been so much better.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And now I think we're just going to have some final words from 2 of our older boarders, from Poppy and Sanchia. So if we head across to those now. Thank you, girls.
Hello.
Hiya.
So just, Beth's completely right. Just adding on from what Beth said, I think once you get into the sixth form and you realise that the workload has significantly increased, and just being at school on the weekends, I think really helps you focus. You don't have all the external distractions that you might do at home, and you're kind of in that environment, you're in the school environment, and you've just got all the resources around you to just get focused. And I think that I've particularly found that in GCSEs and now in A-levels, it's just been so beneficial to me. And do you think?
Yeah.
And it's like joining lower six, I thought I'd be super stressed, but just having my friends around me to see that we're all going through this together. And if I'm feeling sad or upset or just going through something, I know it's like someone's just a knock away, which I find like really useful. And yeah, how do you think boarding has helped you? And do you think it's going to help you in the future, like at uni?
Yeah, I think boarding has really, I feel like it's really underestimated how many benefits it brings, you know, for uni and for the next step. I feel like it's going to be a lot easier than it might have been if I'd, you know, been at a day school and been at home all my life. And I just think it's given me that inner confidence to think uni isn't such a massive, you know, scary step. So hopefully it'll all work out well.
I'm absolutely certain it will, girls. Thank you so much for all of that insight. And as I say, I hope all of you at home found that insightful as well. But back to you, Will. Thank you so much.
James and everybody at Repton, thank you very much. That was an excellent look at different age groups of boarding. And again, just seeing how these schools cope with younger students who really do need more of a family environment. And also just hearing from the students themselves about the perhaps more hidden and nuanced benefits of boarding, about, you know, that education in living with one another, and how that might prepare the pathway for a great smooth transition to university. On next to the mighty Teddy St Edward's School, Oxford, where we're joined by Headmaster Stephen Jones. He says, as I scroll through the view, he is there. Hello, Stephen. Stephen, welcome. Thank you for joining us so much, and over to you.
Good evening, William, and good evening, everybody. It's really great to see you all here. Actually, I can't see you. I hope you can see me, but that's a different matter. As William just said, I am indeed the Warden of St Edward's in Oxford. My name is Stephen Jones, and you've heard from some fantastic schools this evening. We love schools. One of the joys of being a schoolmaster, being a teacher, is that we work in wonderful, wonderful places, particularly in boarding schools. And we love things like away matches where we can go and visit schools. So actually we will end up getting to know each other incredibly well. You've heard a great deal about boarding. We are a boarding school. We're 85% boarding. We do have 15% day pupils. We treat our day pupils as boarders. We give them beds, and it all seems pretty normal. I just want to say two things about St Edward's. First, about academic development, and obviously we are an IB school. Just over half of our sixth form do the International Baccalaureate and the other half do A-levels, and that's been a really important change within this school over the last 10 or 12 years. But also we've been developing our own courses which are replacing some GCSE courses. These are our Pathways and Perspectives courses, and they're replacing 2 or 3 GCSEs. And you may have read about people's perhaps concern about GCSEs, whether they're the right thing, in the press. And what we're trying to do is to create different approaches to assessment and having control over the work, both the teachers and the pupils, so that that work can be seriously vibrant and engaging, and indeed prepare people correctly for the sixth form. And at the heart of that is our aim, and this is where boarding does come in. Our aim as a school to try and give our pupils the opportunities to become the very best 25-year-olds that they can when they get there. And to do that, that's a huge ambition. But to do that, the whole environment matters. And that's why the academic initiatives matter. And that's why boarding matters. It enables us to give our pupils far greater and far deeper sets of opportunities, not just in the academic, but in the broader sphere too, for our pupils to grow and to push on with their journeys of becoming those 25-year-olds. So that's the first thing, that academic culture set within the context of lots of broad, interesting opportunities for our pupils in a boarding setting. And secondly, I would say that we're in Oxford, boarding in a city. Certainly in this city, I would probably nod here to Fettes. It is in Edinburgh. It's a pretty good city, but Oxford is a great city. This really does matter and makes a huge difference to what life is like for our pupils. And that difference is again in opportunity, not just for highly academic and engaging speakers who are just a phone call away. That's just commonplace here. And indeed, not just for pizza restaurants, which of course are equally commonplace, but rather for our pupils' ability to engage with the local community, being part of real life, if you like. We've got wonderful cultural facilities like the Pit Rivers or the Ashmolean, but we also have fantastic opportunities for community action in local schools, local primary schools, or indeed in our own community city farm just down the road by our boathouse. And Teddy's is not just in Oxford. We are a 100-acre campus in Summertown, which is a charming urban village in North Oxford. So our pupils, COVID aside, of course, are very much part of that local community. We've got no need for a school shop because we've got Tesco's and Sainsbury's and the Co-op and M&S on our doorstep, and of course, most importantly, a Costa coffee. So it really is an extraordinary school in a wonderful place with fab teachers, outstanding opportunities. But I think most of all, really, really engaging pupils who could, of course, at some point be some of you out there. But I'd like to introduce you to two of them, both in the lower sixth, Jennifer Ellis, who is in the girls' house, and Charlie Scales, who is in a co-educational house. All our houses are 13 to 18. Our co-educational houses will have 3 next year, have boys from 13 to 18 and girls in the sixth form. But I think it's over to Jen first. I think they're together in the music school somewhere. Jen.
Hi. Yeah, so I think the thing that strikes me I like about Teddy's is how quickly you settle in. Because like when I came, obviously I was quite nervous. I didn't really know anyone, and I was worried, oh, I wouldn't make friends for weeks.
Jen, I'm so sorry. It's Will, the post here. We're having troubles hearing you. Can you get towards the microphone a bit more? A lot more, maybe.
Oh,
Does that work now? Bingo. Perfect. Thank
cool.
you.
So
Start again, maybe.
sorry about that. Anyway, yes, when I came, I was quite nervous because I didn't really know anyone. But I was worried it would take me ages to settle in. But actually, by about day 2, I'd found a nice group of friends, and it was really, really easy to settle in. And I think also that is down to, we have like vertical houses. So a lot of schools, they have sort of year group houses. So they might have a lower school house and then a sixth form house. But at Teddy's, we're all together. And I think that's really important because obviously you have the sixth form role models to look up to. And you have a kind of buddy system where the older pupils look out for the younger ones coming in. And I think that contributes a lot to it as well. And also, like the range of schools that come in, it's not just, schools in the local area, the local prep schools, people come from all over the country and also, all over the world. We have a lot of international students, which is really great, brings a really good community into the school. And also you get chances to come into the school before you start. So we have time out Teddy's, which I think happens when you're in about year 7, towards the end of year 7, where you come in and you spend the night at school and you do loads of activities like music, tech, rock climbing, canoeing, just crazy things like that. And, you get to meet people, and I'm friends with people that went to time out Teddy's and where I met them, which is really cool. And so I think like the whole settling in and the atmosphere at the beginning is really right from the beginning, and it carries on throughout your time here. So
so also what's so great about boarding at Teddy's is that you are offered so many opportunities, and you're never really bored. So there are always activities going on within houses over weekends and evenings. Obviously, the older you get, these activities do become more and more optional given work with the A-level and IB. So I personally try to get a lot of my work done in my study periods so that I can actually take part in these weekend activities. And even if your house hasn't individually set up activities, there is a wide variety of extracurricular activities available. So you're really never really bored. Obviously, if a commitment is made earlier on, for example, Jen and I are both members of the choir, and we've both taken part in quite a lot of school plays as well. So we would spend a lot of our Sundays in rehearsals, which is actually really, really fun because we're with people we really do we enjoy the company of, and we do really love what we do in those rehearsals. And you know, even on the weekends, if you're really tired and you're not really feeling like activities, the school has expansive grounds just to amble in. I'd say my favourite thing about boarding is really just the atmosphere around house, particularly in evenings when the school day is coming to an end, and everyone just wants to really relax and catch up with each other. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Jen and Charlie. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, some fantastic pupils here at Teddy's, and thank you for being here. That's all for us, I think.
Thank you so much, Stephen, and thank you to your students. Again, viewers, we're obviously getting lots of sort of insight into the different versions of boarding, how it manifests itself at each individual school. But the sort of central message, obviously, is just how much all of these wonderful students can engage with in a boarding environment. And that added time is, compared to a day school, is sort of unquantifiable. It's an extraordinary leg up to the day school equivalent. So, more of the same, please, as we move on to Queenswood in Hertfordshire, where we're joined by Principal Joe Cameron, who's also joined by Violaine Ludwig, Assistant Head, and a student called Juniper, I read. So over to you, Queenswood.
Thank you very much. Hello and welcome to Queenswood, or Q as it is affectionately known. We are a girls' full boarding, flexi boarding and day school set in Hertfordshire. 120 acres of parkland surround us, which is absolutely beautiful, but of course only 18 minutes straight into London. So we are very lucky to be in this beautiful, beautiful site. Over the next few minutes, I'd just like to talk to you about a few things that make Queenswood so very special. And of course, one of those things is our boarding, the boarding environment, and particularly actually here is the flexi boarding that we offer. We are a traditional boarding school in many ways, but what we have managed to do is very much move with the times and provide a flexible boarding approach, which supports our families absolutely brilliantly. So being an all-girls school, we are, of course, very good, in fact, experts at teaching girls. We do this through the curriculum, through our teaching and learning, of course, but it's really important for us here that the context of that is stretched out also across the co-curricular. And of course, that means that our boarders really do get the best of both worlds. And the co-curricular programme is something that we're very passionate about, and our boarders particularly do benefit from that. So we do deliver this very personalised approach, and something which is key to that approach, I suppose, is our ability to dovetail our flexi boarding with our door-to-door transport. Our personalised approach is fundamentally set within our teaching and learning and how we deliver that to our pupils. But of course, we also believe that getting things right for the whole family, very busy families, means that, you know, there are other things that we can do as a school to support the whole family life. And one of those things is this flexi boarding and the door-to-door transport that has become extremely successful, and many of our girls really do enjoy that. So I'm very proud to say that our Queenswood girls are very happy girls, and of course happy girls are successful girls. So I'm going to hand over to Juniper Walker and Miss Ludwig. Miss Juniper is a year 9 student. She has been with us since year 7. She is a flexi boarder, and Miss Ludwig is going to ask her a few questions. So over to Miss Ludwig and Juniper.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lower School House. As you can see, I have Juniper with us, but we have an added visitor, my dog Zena, who I hope will behave. She's just about to move. Typical. Anyway, tonight we thought we would have a few questions. We would ask a few questions to Juniper so she could tell you about her experience about being a flexi boarder at Q. So I'm going to start off proceedings. Juniper, I'll ask you a few questions. So when did you first start boarding?
I started boarding as soon as I came in year 7, and yeah, I love it. It's really, it just makes, so it's amazing.
Good. And you are a flexi boarder.
Yeah.
So how did you start? Did you start with 1 night, 2 night? How did you?
In year 7, I started boarding 2 nights, Tuesday, Wednesday, because I wanted to have 2 nights close together, so I wasn't packing, coming all the time. So yeah. I did Tuesday, Wednesday, and 2 nights, and now I'm in year 9. I increased it to 3 nights a week.
Great. So do you use the door-to-door transport that Mrs. Cameron was talking about?
Yes, I do. It's really good. It means that my parents don't have to come and drop me off when I'm not boarding. It's amazing. They come and pick you up at the door, so like a chauffeur service. It's amazing. And I've only ever had like 2 drivers, so you get a really good relationship with them, and it's really easy if you have a doctor's appointment or you have to cancel or rebook a different slot or anything. It's really easy.
Yeah, I know they look after you very, very well, and they get very invested into school life as well, and they know you very well, don't they? They get to know you and your family, which is great. So what sort of activities do you partake in? What kind of activities?
There's a huge range of co-curricular activities, like anything you can imagine. I'm sure we have a club for it. Due to COVID, a few of them have, because we're not allowed to mix bubbles, so a few have been cancelled and things, but by September, hopefully that will all, sort itself out.
Yeah, so we have lots of, there's chess, there's photography, there's drama, sport, netball. There's never a dull moment, I'm sure. So obviously, during the day, we're in school, lots of lessons. How do the evenings pan out?
Well, in year 7, dinner for the whole school is at 6, and then you come back to your house. You have like a designated hour to do homework and study or revision or anything, and then you just have free time from about 8 o'clock to kind of just relax, and everyone goes upstairs at 7:30 to get ready for bedtime, which in year 7 is at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and then the bedtimes are slightly later depending on how old you are. What haven't you mentioned though at bedtime? What do we have to do at bedtimes though?
Hand in tech, which is very fun, but it means that no blue light and everything before bed, and it means that you have more time to socialise and things with your friends, and you're not all just small friends.
Yes, that is good. Yeah, I know everyone approves of the no tech at bedtime, but it's good. But as you get older, obviously you are allowed to have your tech for longer, and obviously if you're a 6th former, obviously we don't take away the tech for a 6th former, clearly. Okay, so as a flexi boarder, does anyone use your bed on the evenings that you're not there?
Well, when I had a couple of times in year 8, but it's only for boarders who only do a few nights a week. So maybe if you do 1 night and someone else does another night, you might have to share, but it doesn't really affect it doesn't really matter, because you strip your bed and make it up when you come, and at the beginning of the term you go, okay, I'll have that drawer and you have that drawer in the cupboard, and it's fine, and it doesn't really
all sorts of dovetails together, doesn't it? And everyone's very respectful of each other's belongings, so you don't lose things around the house, because obviously everything is named as well, clearly, isn't it? Obviously. Good. So one of the highlights I know of the evening and of the week is treat night. We do like our treat nights here at Q. What's been the best treat night you've ever attended, would you say?
I love Pancake Day. You make very good pancakes.
Thank you.
I love Pancake Day, but treat night's really fun. We have it once a week, and it's just a good time to socialise and spend time with other years pre-COVID.
Yes.
And it's really fun having different. They're mainly to do with food.
Yes. We do sometimes we do arts and crafts, don't we, or some other kind of activities, but we do enjoy tucking into pancakes or donuts or hot chocolates. So I suppose that is one of the highlights of the evening. So good. Well, I hope I've given you a little insight into boarding here at Q, and thank you so much, Juniper, for helping us. I'm afraid the dog didn't really perform that well, but she's now chewing on a bone, so she's happy where she is. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Queenswood, or Q as I shall now forever call you. Lovely again to hear from a student there. and to hear again about flexi boarding. So boarding styles do change from school to school. It's very important as a parent that you contact the schools you're interested in and find out more about the versions of boarding that they champion and the ones that they offer. There will be schools who can suit what they offer directly to your situation, I'm sure. So up to our sixth and final school, and another absolute outstanding institution, Berkhamsted Schools in Hertfordshire, and we're joined there. I can see some students and indeed Mr. Martin Walker, who's head of sixth form. Martin, over to you. Welcome.
Good evening and welcome to Berkhamsted School. I'm speaking to you from the sixth form cafe, and I'm joined by 4 boarding students who are going to speak in a moment about some of their experiences of boarding. But first, a quick introduction from me. We are what's called a diamond school. That means that we're a group of schools, and we've got a co-educational prep school at the bottom of the school. And then we have separate single-sex boys and girls school from 11 to 16, and a co-educational sixth form at the top of the school. And what that means is that really you can get the best of both worlds in a diamond school. You get the great facilities of a really large school combined with the small community feeling of a smaller school where every student is known as an individual. It also means that we offer lots of choice and flexibility. We're mainly a day school with lots and lots of extracurricular activities, like a full boarding school, but we offer flexi weekly and full boarding opportunities with lots of flexibility at the weekends. We don't have Saturday morning school, for example, but we do offer extracurricular opportunities at the weekend, and we don't have Sunday chapel like some other schools as well. We're just 30 minutes from London Euston as well, which means that some of our London boarders can benefit from being able to go home when they would like to, but being able to stay and have extra time to throw themselves into the extracurricular activities that we offer as well. And we really offer that flexibility to fit around their needs and how they feel and the level of contact that they want to have with home, as well as offering full international boarding as well. So to sum up, we offer great flexibility, great opportunities, and a great sense of community that provides support for our students to help them to prepare for the next step beyond boarding so that they can go on to thrive and do well and do good beyond Berkhamsted. So I'm just going to ask a few questions now to our boarders. So Tobias, can you just tell us from your perspective as a new boarder this year, what have the benefits of boarding been?
So as you touched upon recently, one of the benefits for me is that the flexibility of boarding. So it's all based down to your preference, whether if you've got exams one week and you feel as you need to get as much work done at school, you can always stay the weekend, or if you feel like you want to go home for the weekend, you can leave Friday, come back Sunday evening or Monday morning. And that's been really beneficial for me, especially if I've had sport on the weekend or for anybody else has got any commutes on the weekend. It's really helpful to know we have that option and that flexibility.
Okay, great, thank you. And Shanique, can you tell us a little bit about the sense of community in the boarding environment?
Yes, so within the boarding community, there's a strong sense of friendship, and the staff within the boarding house do understand that as boarders, we'd like to sometimes return home to see families and friends. And for me, for example, it's quite easy because I only live in London, and it is one direct train from Berkhamsted to London. So it's really easy. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And Owen, can you tell us a little bit about what a weekend looks like in the boarding environment in Berkhamsted?
Yeah, sure. Since COVID hit, like due to all the restrictions, we haven't been able to go up as much as we did before. But pre-COVID, the school has arranged like activities for us to go to London for example, for like a day trip, for us to like bond with each other when we're going to London, or either we could just get our parents' permission and go to London by our own to visit like friends or even family. But after COVID hit, the school has still been providing lots of activities during the weekends, such as taking us to the sports hall, for example, to either play basketball or go to the gym, which is very eventful and fills up our weekends very well.
Okay, so there's lots on offer at the weekends, but it's also a time when the school sort of slows down a bit and you can recover from the pace and the intensity of a normal week. Yeah, and Selena, can you tell us a little bit about how the school has managed COVID and supported boarders through the last sort of 15 months?
Yeah, so what I really appreciate is the boarding house kept open for this whole academic year. So I've been here since the 21st of August. And since then, I'm literally in school every day, like every holiday. And we got really lovely celebrations in Christmas and Chinese New Year. And also in Easter, we got the Easter egg hunt, like around the boarding house and outside the garden.
Okay, great. And Selena, can you tell us just a little bit about the sort of pastoral care for boarders as well? What does that look like in the boarding house?
Well, I think it's really good that we got 3 boarding tutors, and then two of them are living in the boarding house with us, and one just next across the road. And it's really easy to approach to them. So on weekends, there will be weekend tutors. They will organize like games or some activities for us. And also they are there whenever we have any questions or any worries, we can just go and talk to them.
Yeah, and I guess that having been open since the 21st of August, every day since then shows their level of commitment to the boarders as well, to enable you to have stayed there as well. And Tobias, can you tell us a little bit about how the boarding meshes in with the day house as well? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's no real split between the day schoolers and boarders. For example, the only difference would probably be is that we go home to a boarding house where everyone else goes back to their original homes. So when we come to school, we mesh in really well for day-to-day boarders, and we act as if we're just a day-to-day student, which I think is a really good environment, as it doesn't really separate us from those who go home every evening and those who stay the night at school.
Yeah, okay, so the boarders are also members of a day house as well, which means that you have lots of contact with the day students, and I suppose means you get the best of both worlds from that respect as well, that you're a member of a boarding community, but also of a smaller day house community as well, so sort of dual support, I suppose. I think that's about it from us here. Thank you for joining us. Before I hand back to sort of headquarters, just to share the exciting news that we are designing and about to start building a brand new sixth form centre, which will open in the summer of 2023. So really exciting times here to be involved in that project. And we really look forward to the students being able to benefit from those opportunities as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin, and then those students there at Berkhamsted schools. So thank you very much to all of our schools. We're a bit short on time, so we are we're going to leave out the Q&A, but I can see that lots of you asked some questions, and thank you to the schools for answering those on the chat there. Any further questions, please do contact the schools directly, or ourselves, of course, at Bonas MacFarlane or the schools show. You'll find this recording available tomorrow on our site, schoolsshow.co.uk. Our next webinar will be Tuesday, the 11th of May, where we will be looking at central London prep schools, and we'll have a lovely selection to whiz round very much in the style of today. And indeed, on our website, you will find information about that. And of course, our Hurlingham-based schools show, our summer schools fair, which we are hosting, and very excited to be having an event on the 22nd of June in London with all of these wonderful schools who are here today and many more. And really looking forward to welcoming you back to a physical show post the COVID era. So it only remains for me to say thank you very much indeed to Berkhamsted, Queenswood, St Edwards, Repton, Caterham, Fettes, and all of you who joined in. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we will see you all again very soon. Goodbye.